Why go to a table with no utensils and a plate? That basically says you're not prepared for that table. So in this next move that I was trying to make, I got my plate ready. I got my utensils ready. I even got my Tupperware for to-go boxes because I'm ready to go. Yo, welcome to another episode of More Than the Barber. I am your host, AP, and listen, we take conversations from the barber chair and we turn them into episodes. And today, I have a very, very solid episode that I think is going to be a game changer for those that are tuning in today. So listen, today I want to really talk about the subject, the pivot, and how it is very important to know when it is time to pivot as a barber, as an entrepreneur, even as an individual. Like, you just have to know when it's time to make a shift and make a pivot. And so the other day I was just thinking about this topic and I was like, man, when it comes to pivoting, more times than not, you can outgrow certain situations, you can outgrow certain cities that you live in, and you'll stay there not realizing that you should have left a long time ago. And so for me, I was dealing with even a situation here in my business, and I was thinking, man, I need to make a shift, but I don't know how to do it. And so oftentimes for me personally, I can feel it that it's time to shift. I can feel that it needs to be a move, but I need to know, like, should I move now or should I make another move in a couple of months? And so today I want to give you 4 points that's going to really help you as a barber in particular, how to know when it's time to shift and make a pivot. And the first thing is you have to be in alignment. Like, number one, you have to be in alignment with yourself, with your brand, with your business. You really have to be in alignment. Because if you are in alignment with your brand and your business, then you know that, anything that comes outside of what it is that I have on paper, that I have on my goals, that it's not part of where I'm going. And so when I was dealing with the situation in my business, I was thinking that I need to make another move. And this move was, I'm trying to go to the next dimension. I'm not just trying to go to a next level. Oftentimes you say, I'm going to another level. That's literally getting on the elevator and going from the first floor to the second floor. That's really not a lot of space, to elevate to. And so for me, I'm like, I'm trying to go to another dimension. And that dimension is to a place I've never seen before, rooms I've never been in before. And before you get there, you got to feel it. Before you step in rooms, you got to know that you belong there. I heard somebody tell me this the other day in the barbershop. They said, why go to a table with no utensils and a plate? That basically says you're not prepared for that table. So in this next move that I was trying to make, I got my plate ready. I got my utensils ready. I even got my Tupperware for to-go boxes because I'm ready to go. I'm ready to eat. I'm ready to make a play. But oftentimes, if you're not in alignment, you'll never know when it's time to make a move because you're not in alignment with what you put on paper. And so number one, be in alignment. And not only be in alignment, have on paper where you're trying to go. Have it on your phone. My phone, I change my screensaver out a lot. And on my phone, I change it to motivation, places that I'm trying to go, things I'm trying to accomplish. I literally changed my screensaver because I want to be reminded every single time where I'm going. I heard I was thinking about this motivational speaker, Earl Nightingale, I believe his name is. He said, write your goals down on a piece of paper and then put it in your wallet and read it 3 times a day. So you're always reminded of where you're getting ready to go. Even if you can't see it in real time, if you read it and get it in your heart, I promise you, you're going to get there. You're constantly reminding yourself of where you're going. You're constantly reminding yourself of the places that you're going to go to. For an example, a few times a month in my area, it's a new construction everywhere. They're building new houses. I go look at houses often because I want to remind myself of how I want to live in the near future. So I go to the model home, I sit in the chairs, I sit in the theater room, I go outside, I in the backyard, right? I go into the master bedroom, look at the shower. A lot of people don't realize that is just bigger. It's bigger than manifestation. It's bigger than manifesting. You got to physically act on it. So I go to these, man, I go to these model homes and to these multi-million-dollar properties because I want to see exactly where I'm going to be living in the near future. And so you got to be in alignment with where you're trying to go so that you'll know the things that don't align with what you have on paper, it can't go with you. That's the thing. Number two, navigating change. Change for most people is hard. Change for most people is uncomfortable. Change for the vast majority is something that don't feel good. But I like to say it like this. If it makes me uncomfortable, I think I'm in the right spot. If it makes me uncomfortable, because if I'm comfortable always doing what I do, then I don't know if I'm really growing for real. So are you really growing because you're comfortable? And then when you become comfortable, you're not trying new trends. You're not looking at other people and the things that they're doing and their success to get motivation. Most people that are comfortable in what they do and they ride on what they do, they're complacent. They're comfortable. They ain't trying to budge because they've doing, there's a saying, if you do what you've always done, you'll get what you've always got. So you got to change. Like you got to pivot. And navigating change ain't always going to be easy, especially for my entrepreneurs that's streaming, especially for those that are trying to make a play. You can make changes and say, "Nah, I'm good." But because you're in a like you can make changes and say, "No, I'm good," but right? But make progress and say, "Man, I want to go back to what I'm familiar with because this unfamiliar territory don't feel good. It doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel like I belong." And the reality of it is new territory means that you have the capacity to grow into a whole new realm. And so navigating change is going to be vital to you pivoting in this new season. We're in 2024 and I ran into a situation the other day at work, and this is a true story. You'll probably hear this on my IG. I'm cutting ahead and I'm literally trying to get every angle. I'm trying to get the start, the before, the after, the taper, the lineup. And right when I got to the point of lining this particular client up, mind you, the cut was, in my opinion, was one of the best cuts I cut that day. And I get proud of my work. I get proud of the things that I do. But that cut, I was like, man, I really worked. Like I'm changing angles and doing the things that's going to be, easy to edit with my camera. Tell me why when I got to the end of the cut of my lineup, my SD card got full. So here's how I pivot. I'm like, man, I don't like the quality of my phone going from a camera to the phone, but I learned in that moment that I have to pivot. I can't freeze and say, man, what I'm going to do, I'll just forget it. I'm not going to post the cut or I'm not going to edit the cut. No, you got to learn how to pivot. Even in unfortunate situations, pivoting means I'm going to take an unfortunate situation and make it fortunate, and I'm going to make this thing work for me. And in that moment, I made it work for me. And that mindset, you can take that mindset anywhere. So number one, you got to recognize and be in alignment with change, be in alignment with where you're trying to go with your goals and your career. Number two, you got to learn to navigate change. And then the number three, I got four for you. Number three is the importance of alignment. Man, it's so important to be in alignment with your goals, your career, and where you're trying to go with your business. See, people oftentimes come and share things with me about what they are about to do, what they are about to accomplish, what they are about to buy. And I like to keep things private until when it's physically in my hand, that's what I'll share. And so keep things private until it physically comes to pass. But if you're just talking about what you're about to do, but you're not in alignment with the things that you have in place to go to another level or another dimension, is what I like to say, then you're not really going to elevate. You're not really going to go into the realm that you're trying to go into. So pivoting is important. Pivoting, even when it comes to your team. If you got a team and you're building for, new expansion, you're building for, another company or a new company. If that team is not in alignment with your vision, I promise you that vision is going to be short lived because you cannot do it by yourself. You have to have the right team. Do you not know that Steve Jobs, right? Steve Jobs, this is so crazy. Steve Jobs came into a business meeting and he casted vision, right? He casted vision. And there was one person on his team that said, we can't do this. And he fired him. And on the spot, he fired him. And to be honest with you, you got to be a dog. You got to be a dog with your business. If there's one person that feel like, nah, we can't do that, unfortunately, you got to let them go. Now, that doesn't mean that you are a bad person or that individual is a bad person. It just means that they cannot go where you're going. Some people are coming to your life for a season, a reason, or a lifetime. And if you're not in alignment with your brand, you're not in alignment with your business, right? The team member and this staff member is going to literally have the growth in a chokehold. And so I'm in tune. I'm in alignment. I already know that I'm focused on where I'm trying to go. I'm not every step. I like to say this. Every step should be intentional. Every single step, from the time you wake up till the time you go to sleep, everything that you do throughout your day, it should be intentional. That's why pivoting is extremely important. One of the things that I like to mention is really quick is the podcast. Shout out to the podcast, The Pivot. They pivoted in such a way that was extremely smooth. It was like the way they transitioned, I commend them because oftentimes people, they pivot, but they pivot and they make too much noise when they're doing it. You got to learn, and I had to learn this too. You got to learn how to be like a person that moves in silence. I just said it earlier. Don't open your mouth until everything is done, complete. You already signed a contract and you got the keys. Because sometimes you could self-sabotage and be in your own way and lose the deal. They said this about Jess Hilarious on The Breakfast Club, how she announced her spot on The Breakfast Club before iHeartRadio can announce it. When you talk about fumbling a bag, like if all she had to do was just keep her mouth closed. All she had to do is just hold that information for a little while longer. Like, you never open your mouth before the deal is closed because you don't know how things are going to transition. You don't know how things are going to change. So no disrespect to Jess Hilarious, but she fumbled the bag. And my question to you is, are you pivoting? And while you're pivoting, are you making too much noise? I want to hear your thoughts. Drop it in the chat. Let me know what you think about this question. Are you pivoting? But while you're pivoting, you're making too much noise in the process. Or are you moving in silence because you are in alignment with what it is that you're trying to do with your business, your brand, ultimately your particular niche that you are killing it in the game. And so for me, I'm learning to have the right staff. I'm learning to be in alignment with what I'm trying to accomplish. Not even trying to, I'm going to accomplish, right? And the second to the last thing is the importance of alignment. Yes, they're the same, but they're a little different. It's very important that you be in alignment with what you're planning to do. It's very important. It's very important. I said this in the previous episodes that you can do everything right. You can do all of the right things and in the end still take an L. So be open to conform, be open to pivot, be open to trying new things and being around a new group of people. Some of you have already outgrown circles that you've been rocking with. You know it. You've been rocking with these people for so long that it just become comfortable. And when you become comfortable, I will argue, are you really growing? Are you really winning? Are you really getting to the places that you have on paper that you desire to go to? And so you got to really recognize that. And to my inspiring barbers, and to my inspiring entrepreneurs, it's not that you're not going to kill it. It's not that you're not going to be successful, but these are key principles that I had to fail at so I can tell you what not to do and what to understand and learn from so that you won't make these mistakes. And so if you are in alignment, if you know the importance of alignment and you have the right staff, the right team, it's going to help you. You're going to be ahead of the game. I promise you, you're going to be ahead of the game. And the last thing I'll say is don't be frustrated with where you are. If you're frustrated with any industry that you're in, more importantly, the barber industry, if you are frustrated with where you are, I need you to take a step back, find your niche within the industry, and just align with that. You know, you got too many people trying to be too many things, and so you're running yourself thin. Can you imagine planting a garden and you're planting 20 seeds and you're trying to water all 20 seeds, nourish and, all 20 seeds versus planting one seed, being able to nourish and water and cultivate this one seed? I would argue some have too many coals in the fire, so you're frustrated because you're being influenced by other people's success. And you see that they're putting up whatever facade on social. And so you're thinking, well, if they can do it, I can do it. Now that mindset is true, but it's situational. It's situational. And here's what I mean by that. It's if they got real receipts, if they have real numbers, then bet, yeah. If they are doing it, if doing this, I can do it too. But I need to see these receipts. If you don't have the real receipts that show me that you're doing these real numbers, I can't really follow you, because anybody can create this lifestyle or this facade and make me think that you're living a lifestyle or got this super dope business, and it really don't match. The receipts don't match. And so I'm telling you right now, if you're frustrated, you got to take a step back. It's whatever you put into it is what you're going to get out of it. So you understanding that I may have to pivot and take a step back and say, let me just focus on this one thing. Let me focus on being a better marketer for my business. Let me focus on, learning a new skill or a new skill for my business. Too many coals in the fire is going to run yourself thin, and that's what causes burnout. So you got to pivot. Don't be frustrated. It's all right. You're already killing it, but oftentimes we have too many coals in the fire, and it causes us to be frustrated. It causes us to be confused and mad at the industry. And also, I would argue too that when you are frustrated and looking at other people and their success, that's where hate can come. Look at that cat. He think some of them people really put in the work. You want to know why LeBron is so hated? By the masses. The most hated athlete, I would argue. Because he's doing, to the eyes of the culture, he's doing everything right. But the reality of it is, he putting in the work behind the scenes. You remember in the Summer League, I think it was 2 years ago, Summer League, they're in Vegas. This dude brought a bag of trail mix to the Summer League, and he's eating trail mix from the crib. Billionaire. Money is not necessarily the focus. His health. He is the brand. He is the product. So let me protect my product so I can continue to do what I do. That's a pivot right there. He's not worried about what everybody's trying to say, but he's good at what he does. He's good at and he's doing all the right things the right way, which is why he can last the way he is in the NBA, killing it on all levels. And so learning to pivot is not just about your brand and your business. It's also when you become frustrated. It's also when you become tired and burn out. You got to learn to pivot. You have to, because pivoting is going to save your business, your career. Don't become frustrated. It's all going to work out. So this has been another episode of More Than a Barber. I am your host, AP. I want you to check out the other episode, like, subscribe. I can't wait to see you on the next one. Let's go. Hey, yo, check this out. If you like this episode, do me a favor. Make sure you subscribe down below. We got amazing content coming your way. Stay tuned for more. Let's go.